You're not getting anywhere with this, von Borchert.
You know, I kind of get the same feeling, my dear Sarah. Listen. Nothing. Not a sound. No one's coming to save you.
Huh, that's what you think. The Golden Order knows exactly where we are.
By the time your ridiculous secret society turns up, I'll be long gone. As for you, nothing will remain of your body.
If you touch a single hair on my mother's head, I'll skin you alive.
You know, Louis, I have no intention of beating your dear mother. There are more persuasive ways of making you talk. You've stolen something from me that I intend to get back. Where have you hidden it?
Von Borchert, you can't sell that book on the black market anymore. This is finished.
We know you're planning on selling at one of Lord Mortimer's parties. All right? Just tell us who the buyer is and we can make a deal.
You've no idea of the trouble you've gotten yourselves into. Oh, but you will tell me where it's hidden. I can promise you that.
Stop annoying our host, Louis. Son, didn't what happened to you in Rome teach you anything?
Just a few more minutes and my concoction will be ready. With this, your bodies will dissolve in less than 4 hours. You'll see. It loosens tongues in no time.
You know, I have to admit, Mother, the only thing you've ever taught me is that damn motto of yours. Always remain rational. And open. I got it. I've opened our shackles.
Draw him over here. I'll take care of him.
Von Borchert! Von Borchert! Listen. Let's make a deal. I'll tell you where the book is if you let my mother go free.
Oh, what are you playing at?
Don't worry, Mother.
You want to play the hero. Pity you're not in any position to do so. For the last time. Where is Al-Azif?
Let me do this. Trust me.
Please, be my guest, Mother.
Well done, Louis. You reacted perfectly.
How do you feel, Mother?
Couldn't be better. He's alive, so I can question him after we get back. Pity he's just a middleman. Means I haven't finished with this case.
Oh, I had a feeling you'd be running off on one of your adventures again, Mother. You know what? I'm warning you. This time, I'm coming with you.
No. Even though you impress me more and more, I have to do this on my own.
Mother, you're no spring chicken anymore.
Come on, let's go home. And don't forget to send our men to tend to von Borchert.
done, Mother. You just had to pick up Bob Burchard's trail on your own, didn't you? You ditched me in Paris with no explanation, and off you go to infiltrate one of the world-renowned receptions of this Lord Mortimer? And now he writes me to say that you've gone missing on his private island? Which, by the way, looks more like a big rock than a paradise island. The least he could do is explain to me how he managed to lose you. In any case, it is time for you to stop all this, Mother. It no longer suits your age. Well, I'm sure I'll find you once again, slogging through the caves beneath the island, searching for some long-lost mystical object that you just can't live without. I'm already hating this trip, and all I've done is think
Contrary
about
to
it.
what one may be able to imagine, it was not the host himself who invited me.
Well now, Duchess, we find ourselves both invited by Sir Holm.
Well, how very amusing. Perhaps we have some common interests, Your Eminence. Is this your first time at one of Lord Mortimer's legendary parties?
Oh no, we have been friends since long ago. But as I'm doing some business with Sir Holm, the invitation came from him.
Well, I simply can't wait for all the festivities to begin.
And you, good sir, what brings you here?
Your Eminence, with all due respect, I prefer to keep my reasons for coming here to myself. I promise, it has nothing to do with the legendary party that you all appear to be preparing for.
Believe what you will, my son. However, everything is related to the legendary parties organized by our host.
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that, Cardinal.
Anyway, consider yourself fortunate, young man, because there are many who dream of simply one day setting foot on this island, and only a very few ever make it. Indeed, I imagine this must be your first time here.
And you, Duchess? You seem to be quite accustomed to things here. Am I right?
I do not think that one can ever get accustomed to what Lord Mortimer prepares for his guests. But you are right. This is not the first time I've been on this wharf.
If you've come back again, I imagine you must find it to be of some interest.
Here, everything is possible if you make the right choices. It really is up to you whether you leave better off or not.
Please excuse me if you find me overly curious, young man. I did not mean to cause you any embarrassment. Come, Duchess. They are waiting for us.
We're moving, Monsieur de Richet, if you would like to join us.
I'm coming, Duchess. A cardinal? A duchess? I wonder if all the guests here are this prestigious. If I'd known, I would have gone for a better suit.
Are you all right?
Mother? Oh shit, your hand!
So,
Okay, it's done.
did you put it in a safe place?
Yes. I made sure no one was following me. Don't worry, Sarah, no one's going to find it.
Are you absolutely sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Right. Just one thing left to do.
No, Mother, no, don't!
What? Have you lost your mind?
There's no other way.
If you kill me, you won't find it.
That is the point, my dear. No one must ever put their hands on it again.
No. But I trusted you.
No, Sarah. Don't. No. No! You can run if you want to, Sarah, but you will pay.
Hugh.
Louis, are you all right? What's going on? Here, take this.
I'm sorry.
Keep it. Are you better?
I'm fine. Don't worry. It's getting late. Why don't you go on ahead and I'll catch up with you, okay?
Are you sure?
Yes! I'm sorry. I'm sure, yes.
Fine.
I definitely have to find Mother quickly. Am I going crazy or what?
Can't be real that the Duchess arrived with me. What's happening to me, for God's sake? I absolutely need to find you, Mother.
Louis, during the trip, I had something I wanted to ask you, but we didn't happen to run into each other.
Yes, Duchess?
I'm not sure if you remember, but we've met before. At that time, you were of two minds as to your choice of career. Tell me, what have you been up to since?
Well, over the last few years, I've solved a number of crime cases. Like the chauffeur d'Angers, for example. Thieves that tortured their victims with burning embers.
Charming. How did you catch them?
I told the most cowardly one that the others had given him up.
Ah, and I wager your thief suddenly started to talk.
You wouldn't believe it. He told us everything. The jobs, the stashes, the names of his partners. Couldn't shut him up.
I heard about that case, but I didn't know you were the one who solved it.
I'm flattered that the news made it across the channel. And you've got a darn good memory, Duchess.
Well, they say I have the memory of two people. But please, call me Emily.
Fine, Emily. Tell me, I was actually helped on that case by my mother. You wouldn't know her by any chance?
Wait, Louis. We've already met. You do remember me, don't you?
Please excuse me, madam. I'm sure we've met before, but I don't remember where.
I appreciate your honesty, even if it's not very flattering for me.
I imagine that with your beauty, madam, it's the first time a man hasn't remembered your face.
Well, I must say you make up for yourself rather elegantly.
Please stop torturing me. I'm completely at your mercy. Where have we met?
4 years ago, in London?
No. Sorry, I don't remember.
In the office of William Pitt. Remember? No?
I'm so sorry, Emily, but I really don't remember you.
Let's drop it, Louis. It doesn't matter. Right, time to go to the manor.
I ask her a question, she answers with another. Is she playing with me? Emily, please excuse my insisting, but you still haven't answered about my mother. Do you know her?
You'll see, Louis. Everybody here knows Sarah de Richet.
I don't know where we're going like this, Emily, but you're connected to my mother one way or another. And if I can believe my vision, you don't have much of a place in her heart.
Good evening, sir. May I ask your name, please?
Louis Moras de Richet.
Monsieur de Richet. Delighted to welcome you among us, sir. You must be Sarah de Richet's son. I must tell you we are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible.
What can you tell me about the disappearance of my mother?
2 weeks have passed since Sir's mother went missing. All the staff here have since been busy searching every nook and cranny of the island. But Sir may rest assured, we shouldn't be long in finding her.
And just what have you found so far?
It would seem that Sir's mother may be hiding on the island and regularly changing her location. But no one seems to know why she would find this behavior necessary.
What do you mean?
On several occasions, we have found leftovers of food, a few of her things, or even traces of campsites. The reason why we're searching the wharf again is because lights were spotted there last night.
Where we are now?
Indeed, sir. According to our information, lights were seen in the middle of the night, sir. After verification, none of the guests seem to have left the manor last night. We think that perhaps Sir's mother was here.
And did you find anything then?
We discovered a certain amount of damage, sir, on the wooden part of the wharf.
What type of damage?
Broken barrels, mainly. We'll do whatever is necessary to have them rapidly repaired. But quite frankly, I can't imagine what Sir's mother would have been doing with them.
What could Mother have been doing with barrels?
Nevertheless, our search of the wharf hasn't been entirely unsuccessful, though.
What do you mean?
We seem to have found an object that would appear to belong to Sir's mother. A handkerchief. The handkerchief is embroidered with the initials S.D.R. We came to the conclusion that they are the initials of Sir's mother, Sarah de Richet. I have orders to give it to Lord Mortimer as soon as I see him.
I know my mother. She's not the kind to go for a midnight stroll on the wharf for nothing. I've got to find out what the hell she was doing here.
Where exactly did you find the handkerchief?
On the landing dock, sir. The one you arrived by.
Give me the handkerchief. I'll personally show it to Lord Mortimer.
Well,
I've traveled hard for several days in order to get here.
Yes, but...
Invited by your master.
No, of course, but...
Because my mother went missing right under your nose.
Sir, please.
And having only just arrived, you refused to give me her personal belongings?
Of course not, sir. It was never my intention to contradict, sir. Here you are. I must return now. It is still much to prepare in order to welcome all the guests.
It is indeed your handkerchief, Mother. You must have come here for a specific reason. I need to know what it is. Let's think. What could she have been doing out here on this wharf? Locked. I'll never get it open barehanded. barrel's been broken for quite some time. This chest might belong to Duchess Hilton.
Must be an incredible view from up there. Impossible to set foot on the island without being seen from 300 meters away.
A sack of seeds. It's unopened. No one seems to have used any. Looks like a bar from an old gate. This miserable old bar has been broken fairly recently. The edges are still clean, and the tip is blackened. Without analysis to the contrary, I put my money on cannon powder. This might just come in handy. See what's hidden inside. Ah, one of the letters is stamped with the seal of the Order. And I'd recognize your handwriting anywhere, Mother.
But who is this Samuel Ritter d'Auchois? Who are you writing to?
I don't recognize the name. Let's see what's inside this letter. So,
Dear Samuel, my stay on Lord Mortimer's island is going wonderfully well. As I find myself in such charming company, I plan to stay a few more weeks. Would you be so kind as to send me a gift that I'd like to give to our old friend Manuel Godoy? I would be most grateful. I have been told that he's going to join us here soon. I would like to mark the occasion. Thank you in advance. Yours devotedly, Sarah Faustine de Richet.
what is your game here, Mother? Secrets, always more secrets. You never talk to anyone using language like this. Something's going on here. Who is this Samuel Ritter? And for crying out loud, who is this Manuel Godoy that you keep bringing up? Think. Godoy, Manuel Godoy. Why does the name sound so familiar? I'm guessing he's a man of some importance. Spanish, I'd say. But just can't put a face to him. Well, hope we meet to talk about it soon, Mother. I don't know what you've gotten yourself into this time, but I'll bet you've got a lot to tell me. Clearly, I'm not much for manual labor. Let's see if I can get it open another way. There we are. This looks like a pistol case, but it's empty. I don't know if this has anything to do with you, Mother, but if it does, at least now you're armed. Just like in my vision. And none of it's telling me anything useful.
Honey, the remedy of the gods.
This wharf is used as storage for a lot of barrels. Uh-huh. What have we here? It's cannon powder. It's unusable now. I don't know what the person who left this barrel like this had in mind, but it's a waste.
Apparently, someone on this island has gone through a whole lot of trouble to arm themselves. Amber crystals. A Latin inscription. Nessis, mi fili quantilia produncia mundus vergatur. How did Mortimer manage to build his manor at the top of a rocky outcrop? Impressive.
Ah, my son. I was looking for you.
What can I do for you, Your Eminence?
I wanted to ask you. You are the son of Sara de Rice, aren't you? You see, your mother and I were supposed to meet here on this very spot. I was supposed to hand her a very important envelope. But I haven't seen her.
If only Mother had told me why she was coming here. Anyway, I ought to take the envelope. It might have something to do with her disappearance.
Listen, if it will help, you can always give it to me.
Thank you, my son. I'll bear that in mind. I'd rather deal with her directly. Don't take it personally. Would you happen to know if your mother has arrived yet?
Certainly, Your Eminence. Mother got here some time ago. I was hoping to find her when I arrived, but given the hour, she must be asleep by now.
Right. I shall see her tomorrow, then.
By the way, Your Eminence, I wasn't aware you knew my mother.
Ah, if you only knew, my son. I hold your mother in the highest regard. She has rendered great service to the church, and her help is invaluable. I hope that you will follow in her footsteps.
If only she had told me where she was headed.
Nonetheless, our exchanges have always been discreet, and I should like them to remain as such. If your mother wishes to speak to you about us one day, I will not mind if she does so.
That is very commendable. But since we work together on a daily basis, it's surely just an oversight.
Most certainly. You said you work together. What do you do exactly?
My mother and I belong to the same secret organization, the Golden Order, which I joined a few years ago. Mother trained me, and I assist in her research. In other words, you can trust me.
My child, you are telling a perfect stranger that you and your mother work for a secret society. It would seem that discretion is not one of your specialities, my son. You will understand that it does not encourage me to put my trust in you.
Shit!
All the same,
It bothers me to see you in a quandary, Your Eminence. Is there any other solution? Look, if it's of any help, you can always leave your envelope with me and I'll give it to her as soon as I see her.
I hesitate. Up till now, we have always dealt with her in person, and that has always been successful. Do you think I should give it to you?
Listen, you have nothing to fear. I will give your letter to my mother the moment I find her.
The moment you find her? You mean Sarah has gone missing?
Shit, I shouldn't have said that. Let's not exaggerate, Your Eminence. I have no other information at this time. It's probably nothing.
Listen to me, my child. If I give you the letter, can you promise me before God that no one other than your mother will read it?
So it's not through a lack of goodwill, but I'd rather swear by something else.
Ah, I beg your pardon?
I mean, to be honest with you, and for my promise to keep all its value, I assure you, it would be better if I didn't swear before God. I shall swear upon my mother's life, if you prefer.
Are you aware of the enormity of what you just said to me, young man? Listen, it is nothing against you, but I prefer to keep this envelope. I'll wait until I run into your mother. It isn't as urgent as that, really. So, let's join the others.
Oh, man. If I'd answered differently, I'm sure I could have got my hands on that letter. Too bad. Lives of the Noble Greeks and Romans by Plutarch, a biography of the great men.
I thought my chimney was big, but this one is beyond belief.
It's the least one can say. I've been longing for a warm fire for ages.
Since I set foot on the island, I haven't ventured more than 2 yards away from it.
Have you also just arrived?
Oh, late morning, I'd say.
Louis, come join us. Monsieur, may I introduce you to Monseigneur His Eminence, Cardinal Piaggi. He joins us straight from Rome.
Oh, just call me Your Eminence. It's simple.
George Washington, President of the United States of America.
Delighted at last to make your acquaintance, Mr. President.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. President. Louis Maurras de Richet. It is an honor to meet you.
Young man, let's keep it simple, please. Let us forget our fancy titles. Nice to meet you, Louis.
I should imagine you never thought you'd be in such company.
I must admit that I didn't. It's the first time that I've ever met so many illustrious personalities.
And you haven't seen anything yet. Generally, when Lord Mortimer organizes one of his receptions, there are over a dozen people here.
They can't all be here yet, and you'll see, most of the time there's only the upper crust.
And I noticed you were already getting to know His Eminence at the entrance. It's the perfect place to build up a network. What were you talking about, if you forgive my indiscretion?
At the risk of disappointing you, we weren't conspiring in our corner, sir. His Eminence was simply telling me that he knew my mother and how much he held her in high esteem.
It so happens that Monsieur de Riche's mother is to join us.
Oh, pity. No scrumptious gossip or juicy tidbits, unmentionable secrets, or even money matters. But you'll see, it will come. Despite all the goodwill in the world, you can't stop people scheming left and right around here.
Speak for yourself, sir.
Well, my friends, do any of you know the reason why we're here this time?
Not in the slightest. As for me, I've been invited by Sir Holm, a close friend of Lord Mortimer, but I do not know the reason why.
You see, Louis, every time Lord Mortimer organises a reception, he always finds a moment to set up a chat with all the guests.
During which time we remake the world.
Accompanied by gallons of absinthe and cussing. I'll leave you to imagine the result.
So, if I understand rightly, Monsieur de Richet, you've come out here to join your mother. For what reason, exactly?
Lord Mortimer asked me to drop everything and come find my mother, who seems to have disappeared during her stay here.
Ah.
I took the first boat, and here I am.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be, sir. It's not your fault.
Seriously, though, I know your mother well. Stay behind with me afterwards, and we'll take a moment to speak about her.
Good Lord! Washington is wearing the emblem of the Grand Master of the Golden Order. It's the highest distinction of the Order in the United States. It puts him on par with my mother. He must really know his stuff when it comes to the occult.
Good evening, my friends.
Holy shit. That's the man from my vision.
An urgent case has delayed our host, Lord Mortimer. He can't be present this evening, and he sends his deepest apologies.
He's asked me here and he hasn't even turned up? Great start. Do you know that man?
Sir Gregory Holm, an English aristocrat. Very influential. He's also close to Lord Mortimer. So don't be surprised if he acts like he's at home.
And now, my dear guests, a light meal is served in the small salon. For those who would like to, you're invited to follow me into the next room.
My dear fellow, you must have read my thoughts. I shall follow.
We'll have to be careful not to make too much noise. One of Lord Mortimer's guests is relaxing.
Oh, we shall be quiet.
Don't take it the wrong way, Sir Holm, but I've already eaten. Thus, I shall be happy to remain by the fireside.
If you don't mind, Gregory, I should like to keep Mr. Washington company.
Please feel at home. And you, sir?
If I stay with Washington, we'll be able to speak about my mother. But on the other hand, I'd like to learn more about this home. I saw him in my vision. My vision is more important. Let's follow home.
I'll follow you, sir. Mr. Washington, I hope to speak with you at greater length on another occasion. Emily, please excuse me, but I would like to speak to Sir Holm. I shall see you later.
My friend, I hope our dear Giovanni is well.
The troubles in France have fatigued him, but he will recover slowly. Do not fear. He apologizes for remaining in Rome. The voyage was too much for him.
And right he was, too. The mildness of the Mediterranean, eh? Come, sit down and have something to eat, my friend. You look rather pale. Excuse me, sir. I have been neglecting my duty. I haven't introduced myself. Sir Gregory Holm, an old friend of Lord Mortimer's.
A real pleasure, sir.
You who must be well used to the court of France. How do you find this peaceful little haven?
Charming, if I hadn't come here for disturbing reasons.
Yes, I heard the news. What a story.
Indeed. I wanted to ask you. You seem to know my mother well. Is that true?
Who does not know of her, sir? She has such a wide circle that everyone knows your mother from a distance or closer.
Everyone knows Sarah, my son.
But you only know her by her reputation.
I remember she once worked for the Crown of England and that she always honors her engagements. However, we have never been personally introduced, sadly.
Well,
If I'm to believe my vision, you're not going to get along with her.
Thank you for your answers, Sir Home. But I beg your pardon. I get the impression I know you. Have we met?
Except in my dreams, of course.
Not that I remember, young man. Perhaps you're mistaking me for another member of the Chamber of Lords. What with the wig and the powder, it wouldn't be the first time.
No, you were definitely the one I saw threatening my mother.
I thought... Never mind. It'll come back to me. Would you allow me one last question, sir? I don't want to take up all your time.
Please, go ahead. What do you want to know?
Could my mother have had a problem with someone during her stay here?
No, not at all. Your mother has always been charming company, and everyone got on very well with her.
Not even a servant?
Certainly not.
Everyone gets on well with the famous Sara de Ricci, boy.
No!
Elizabeth! I should have insisted that you rest in your room.
Do you want me to call someone?
Let me handle this. I'm used to this kind of thing. Miss, can you hear me?
Leave me.
Her breathing is becoming stable and... her heart rate too.
Pale complexion, thin, broken nails, an enormous scar on her temple, tattoos on her hands. I don't know what happened to you, Missy, but it looks like you've been through hell.
Can you tell me something about her? Who is this young lady?
Elizabeth Adams. She's come to the island for a course of treatment, to rest.
For a course of treatment?
That's right. Seer can do wonders. Are you all right, Elizabeth? Do you feel any better?
When did she arrive?
4 days ago.
Okay. My mother had already gone missing. She's just regained consciousness and she immediately reaches for her brooch? I don't know exactly what it means to her, but obviously it's got to be something important.
Are you all right, Elizabeth? You gave us quite a fright.
Take it easy, miss.
Let me... I just need to get back to my room.
Of course, my dear. Go ahead.
You saw it, didn't you?
Pardon me?
I segni della bestia.
Sorry, Your Eminence. I don't speak Italian.
Forget it. It doesn't matter.
Gentlemen, it's getting late. It is time for everyone to go to bed. It has been a long day.
It's all the more delicate.
I'll see what I can do, but the case I'm on at the moment might well leave me with very few opportunities. Well, I am impressed with all this splendor.
But don't spend too much time with Mr. Washington, my dear, or you'll lose your pretty accent. You seem to be intrigued by that statue.
Absolutely. It is remarkable.
Oh, it's naughty to tell lies. Bet my life that you were talking about something totally different from the decoration of the manor. But, to find out what, I should have stayed with them. Too bad.
Lord Mortimer is fond of atypical works of art. I won't disguise the fact that I find it all a little megalomaniacal. But I must say, he does have some outstanding pieces.
So, who was that young lady with you?
Elizabeth Adams, Mr. President. She would have liked to have stayed with us, but the poor thing is exhausted.
Elizabeth Adams?
Just mentioning Elizabeth totally changed Washington's attitude. Looks like he just saw a ghost.
Miss Adams is here to rest. You have perhaps already come across her in the corridors. She arrived a few days ago.
I perceived her, but we weren't introduced.
Rest assured, she is not here for the same reasons as yourselves. Consequently, I'm counting on your indulgence.
Washington looks surprised, but Holmes doesn't seem to see it. I wonder if he's being polite or if he really doesn't see his discomfort.
On that note, it's very late. You must be exhausted. The servant will accompany you to your rooms.
Ladies, gentlemen, I bid you all good night. Mr. President, Your Eminence, Duchess, you have the same rooms as usual. You, Monsieur de Richet, will find your room at the end of the corridor.
Well, my friends, I am bone tired. I am off to my bed. See you in the morning.
Good night, sir. I shall do likewise.
Louis, I shall see you in the morning. Sleep well.
Good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh man, it's been quite a day. Right, where is my room? Oh, it's high time I hit the hay. Wow, nice room. Mortimer sure doesn't do things halfway. President George Washington. Monsieur Johann van Vulner.
Devil's Thorn.
Few leaves out of an old encyclopedia. Monsieur Jacques Perreux. Monsieur Napoléon Bonaparte. Duchess Emily Hillsborough. Huh, that's me. Inferno by Dante. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. Lovely lectures Mortimer's giving to his guests. Saint Jerome the Angel. Yet again, Saturn devouring his son. Again, Saint Francis of Assisi in ecstasy, before superior voices. It always amuses me to see how art gets used for propaganda purposes.
Your turn? The servants are not very efficient.
Durocher can't be far away. They'll find her soon. Their search time is restricted, given that they must keep an eye on Adams.
I can take care of her, you know.
Yes. Well, in any case, I do thank you for bringing her to the island.
From what I've understood, the search of Durocher's room hasn't turned up any results.
Not yet, no. But we've put her son in there. Perhaps he'll find something.
That might come in handy.
Louis grows impatient at not yet having met the famous Lord Mortimer.
He will meet him tomorrow.
Oh, what a pity to lose a knight at the start of the game. Are you waiting for someone?
A young French soldier.
During our game of chess?
Don't worry, Gregory. The game won't disappear. I'll have one of my men escort you back.
Don't trouble yourself. I know my way out.
Ah, good evening, gentlemen. Please forgive me for this late hour.
It is never too late, and we have much to discuss. One last move?
Don't worry. Our games always seem to end like this.
Or always start like this. Come, take a seat, my friend.
little nighttime stroll, Mr. President?
There's nothing like it for a good night's sleep.
Do not hesitate to ask a servant to show you back.
The corridors seem quite safe.
Peppermint, lime flower, and valerian. My miracle remedy when one can't get to sleep. A very good night to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And to you too, sir.
I'm coming!
Dear Monsieur de Riche. Inferno by Dante. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here.
Excuse me. Am I bothering you?
No, not in the least. Is something wrong?
I'm going to need your help. Do you remember the young lady we spoke of in the hall?
I bumped into her in the small salon before.
Well, she is the daughter of my friend, the Vice President, John Adams. But she is supposed to be dead.
Yeah, that's bizarre. Fair enough.
Good heavens! I was present at her funeral.
It is disturbing indeed.
Yes. I need to make sure it's her. That's where you come in. I want you to distract Elizabeth while I search her room. And perhaps get my hands on some important information. At least, I hope so. Elizabeth is in the small salon. If you hurry, you can still catch her. I just need 10 minutes.
But if my vision is true, there are two men nearby discussing very important issues, and one of them looks much like Mortimer. Washington is very kind, but I came to this island for my mother, not for his ghost stories.
Count on me, sir.
Thank you, my friend. Keep Elizabeth downstairs as long as possible. She must not return to her room.
Trust me.
According to Washington, Lady Adams is in the small salon. I better hurry. Louis, you're straying from your objective.
My son. Oh, you are a godsend.
What's the matter, Your Eminence?
I believe Miss Adams may be in danger.
What do you mean?
Do you hear that? She is being manhandled in this small salon.
By whom?
I don't know exactly. A thug, a Frenchman, it seems. By the cut of his cloth, I'd say he's a member of the French Revolutionary Government. You should do something, my son.
Shit! I was supposed to make sure Adams wouldn't go back to her room. Don't worry, Your Eminence. I'll take care of it. Probably nothing to worry about.
Do you want me to call for help?
Please don't do anything. I'm sure with a little goodwill, everything will work out fine. Don't go and wake up the whole manor, please.
Thank you, my son. May God watch over you.
Who do you think you are?
Me, sir.
If we were in France, I'd have sent you to the guillotine for what you just said.
Please, just let me go back to my room.
Hey, you! Stay out of it! This is none of your business. I'm gonna teach this little slut how to behave.
What the hell is going on?
Huh? I don't think you know who I am.
Stop. I beg you. I didn't mean to. Don't hit me, please, sir.
Shit. If I step in, Adams might just run back to her room. And if I do nothing, yes, Washington will have enough time to search, but this girl's gonna suffer. Damn it, what should I do?
Let her go!
Huh? Stay out of it, boy!
Shit.
What are you playing at? I told you to mind your own business, boy! If you think you can side with this whore and then just walk away, you're out of your mind. Give me one good reason not to knock you down.
Sir, you obviously do not know who I am, or you'd keep your distance.
Ooh, one more like that and I'm gonna get scared. Don't think you're getting away with it that easily. I'm sick of all these toffs. If we were in Paris, I'd send you all to the guillotine. And on top of it all, a woman telling me how I ought to behave? I won't stand for it.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute.
What? Don't tell me you're gonna defend these harlots.
I believe in man. From speech comes dialogue. From dialogue, peace is born. And from peace, great destinies flourish.
What the fuck are you talking about? I get the feeling you're trying to put one over on me. If that's the case, you're making a big mistake.
Sorry about that. Look, there's no point in us aggravating each other. Let's both just go our separate ways.
Don't move. We're not done yet. You wanted to be the knight in shining armor and save the damsel in distress. Let's see how brave you are.
I've watched you, and you're shaking. I'm betting you won't fire.
I'm not in the habit of beating Lord Mortimer's guest in his own salon. You got off easy this time, but don't try it again.
Huh. Elizabeth has lost her brooch. Hey, these look like pages taken from an ancient encyclopedia. There's a pattern with 5 circles on this chest. There's a pattern with 5 circles on this chest. There's a pattern with 5 circles on this chest. Lady Adams must have locked it behind her when she fled.
Well, did you get time to search the room?
Louis, I only needed 10 minutes. Imagine the scandal if she had found me.
What would you have done in my shoes? She was in the middle of an argument with some angry guy.
10 minutes? I didn't ask for the moon.
Nonetheless, you found what you were looking for, didn't you?
Not everything, but yes. Elizabeth is definitely the daughter of John Adams. We need more information.
You can always go back.
It's too late now.
Your Eminence, what are you doing here?
I was worried about you, my son. How did it go with Miss Adams?
Don't worry about that anymore, Your Eminence. I had to step in, but everything's under control.
What an adventure, my son. I am relieved to hear it. You acted as a good Christian. In these troubled times, we need more men of your caliber.
It's nothing, Your Eminence. I did what I had to do.
Well, you did the opposite.
Good. Well, thanks for the news. Have a good night.
Exhausted. I better go to bed. I'll search my room tomorrow. If Mother stayed here right before me, you never know. And Mortimer had better show up. All right. In my vision yesterday, I saw that Mother had this room before me. I'd better search the room. Who knows? Maybe she left me something behind. The torture of Ixion, condemned by the gods to lose his mind because of his arrogance. I haven't even had time to unpack the inspiration of St. Matthew, or Matthew writing his gospel, dictated to him by voices. Nothing. Writing material. The incredulity of St. Thomas.
Why is Caravaggio representing St. Thomas putting his finger in the wound? Priest robe, crosses. Must be Piaggi's room. Thomas looks on, but doesn't touch. Look, markings on the floor. Just a bit worn out. I was hoping to find something leading to a secret passage. Oh, this bookcase is well stocked. Oh, this book has been put back the wrong way round. A Voyage Around the World, the travelogue of the explorer Louis-Antoine de Bougainville. One of Mother's favorite books. What a coincidence. And I don't believe in coincidences. It's just too much. I don't know what's going on here, but if you felt threatened, I'll bet you'd leave a clue, wouldn't you, Mother? Found it. A faint sign of the Order, barely visible. Mother, you undoubtedly must have hidden a clue in this book. Let's see if I can find anything else in this room. I'm not far from solving the puzzle. I must keep searching. There's a circle around the lock here. Must be the trunk Mortimer was talking about. The key should open it. There's a note. Effects of Sœur de Richer, to be given to her son, Louis. I should probably take it. All right, I've retrieved everything. Inferno by Dante. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. Lovely lectures Mortimer is giving to his guests. Very jolly. I'm not far from solving the puzzle. I must keep searching. Nothing here. I wouldn't mind a nice, strong coffee, though. Look, markings on the floor. Just a bit worn out. I was hoping to find something leading to a secret passage. Amber crystals. I'm not far from solving the puzzle. I must keep searching. The paper's rougher around the writing. The paper's moist here. Very light stain, barely visible. And the smell reminds me of something. paper's rougher around the writing.
The paper's moist here. Very light stain, barely visible.
And the smell reminds me of something. I'm not far from solving the puzzle. I must keep searching.
Saint Francis of Assisi, and Saturn devouring his son. Saint Jerome and the Angel. Yet again, art with political undertones with an image of a saint hearing voices. Nothing here. I wouldn't mind a nice, strong coffee, though.
I haven't even had time to unpack my
Dear
cases.
Monsieur de Richet, please excuse me, but I am unable to join you at...
The incredulity of St. Thomas. Why is Caravaggio representing St. Thomas putting his finger in the wound? Thomas looks on, but doesn't touch. A priest's robe, crosses. Must be Piaggi's room. Inferno by Dante. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. Lovely lectures Mortimer's giving to his guests. Very jolly. Last Judgment. Why do I always get the most terrifying room? Writing material.
Writing material. From what I see, no ink's ever been used on this quill. The smell reminds me of something. It smells like lemon. That's odd. Let's recap. My mother was in this room. I found a rare edition of her favorite book. She must have left something behind. She applied a liquid to the book. She must have used the writing materials. The quill has been used, but not with regular ink. A message using invisible ink. I bet she used the lemon to leave a message. Now, how do I reveal the message? The message is illegible. I have to keep searching. I haven't even had time to unpack my cases. Well, so it wasn't that, and I've just stained half the page. Ink is always used to write a message, never to reveal one. I must find something else. Nothing here. I wouldn't mind a nice, strong coffee, though. Judith beheading Holofernes. Ironic in a way. The Conversion of St. Paul by Caravaggio. It's incredible. It doesn't look like a copy, but I was sure the original was in Rome.
Dear Monsieur de Richet,
The incredulity of St. Thomas. Why is Caravaggio representing St. Thomas putting his finger in the wound? Thomas looks on, but doesn't touch. Damn, I'm making a serious mess here. It's no good. It might have worked if the writing had left marks in the paper, but no. There's only traces of lemon. Luckily, I've only put ash on part of the message. Nothing here. I wouldn't mind a nice, strong coffee, though.
Aha! It's working! The heat reveals the message.
Let's see what my mother wrote. Where all eyes size you up, you must pass by the Gorgon. Gorgon was the name of Medusa in Greek mythology. On the other hand, where all eyes size you up, I don't get it. And judging by the number of paintings in the manor, it could be anywhere. Damn! The message continues, but thanks to me, the rest of the text is unreadable. Great. I hope it wasn't a unique edition or Mother's gonna kill me. Now I better hurry and find that damn Medusa.
Sir, dinner is served in the red salon.
Typical.
I'm not hungry. Please give my apologies to all the guests.
Sir Holm requests your presence, sir.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to wait before going and looking for my Medusa.
Tell him I'll be there in a minute.
If I get a chance, I may have to take a little tour through the rooms of the other guests. Might be better to take a different stairway. That must be the door to the room of the soldier I saw in my vision.
Excuse me, Monsieur de Richet. I really need to talk to you.
Is this about last night?
No, that was just a misunderstanding. I'm sure it was a little bit my fault, too.
There's no excuse for that man's horrible behavior. You ought to tell Sir Holm.
Look, the only thing that I care about is that I've lost something precious. I'm not worried about Jacques Peru.
You didn't happen to lose this, did you?
Where did you find it?
In the small salon.
It's the only reminder I have of my beloved sister. I thought that swine stole it from me. You're her son. Sarah de Richet's son.
Yes, why?
Last night, I found out that your mother was on the island. What are you doing here?
My mother came here to do business with Lord Mortimer, but she seems to have gone missing. So I'm here to find her.
I know your mother very well.
Really?
Yes, I have been in your mother's care ever since I was born.
She nursed you?
Oh, I wouldn't say nursed. No. I remember her stare, cold as ice. Her sadistic hands pressing over my mouth to silence me while I screamed in pain. I remember her knees, too. She held me down with them while she cut and burned scars into me.
Hold on a minute. What do you mean?
You can ask her when you see her.
Huh, she's getting more and more agitated.
And next you're going to tell me my mother's also responsible for that scar on your head?
My heart stopped twice during the operation. I lost my memory for 6 months. You obviously have no idea of the abuse your mother inflicted on me.
Wait. There must be some kind of mistake.
My only mistake was ever meeting your mother.
She's able to describe every detail without hesitation or getting flustered. It's becoming difficult not to believe the poor girl.
Look, I've got to go.
Wait. I need to know more about you and my mother. Why did she put you through all of that? There must be some reason for what she did.
What's the point of rubbing salt in the wounds?
Elizabeth. Confiding in me might ease your burden. Let me relieve you of some of your suffering.
Relieve me? Do you even hear yourself? Do you really think that by confiding in my torturer's son, I will be healed as if by magic? That it will bring my smile back? Or let me sleep at night? Look, you don't seem like a bad person. And I'm sorry you have to find out your mother's true colors like this. But I'm not going to pity you. Everybody has their cross to bear. I know your little game. You're no different from the rest of them. You couldn't give a damn about me. The only thing you're interested in is finding out about your mother.
Don't say that. Not everyone wants to use you. Some people care about you, don't they? Take your father. I'm sure he tried everything to save you.
Sure, he tried everything to keep me from upsetting his political affairs. Once I was declared insane, I was nothing but a burden that got in the way of his career. By leaving me with your mother, he made all the horrors possible. I've got nothing more to say to you. Figure it out yourself.
What can I do for you, sir? I am at your service, day and night, sir.
Yes. What can I find on the second floor?
That floor is strictly reserved for Lord Mortimer, sir. In the west wing, on the second floor, are his private chambers. In the east wing are the rooms reserved for Lord Mortimer's personal guests. At the moment, these rooms are reserved for Sir Holmes, sir. But only authorized guests may access that area. Does Sir have any more questions?
Yes. Can you briefly describe the ground floor, please?
Very well, sir. On the ground floor, there are mainly living rooms. Sir finds himself at present in the Grand Hall. From the Grand Hall, Sir can access, on one side, the small salon where the guests like to relax with a good book. From there, Sir can access the conference room, which is closed at present for preparations. That is where Lord Mortimer likes to gather all of his guests for talks. From the other side of the Grand Hall, Sir may access the dining room. That is where Sir's meals will be served. From the dining room, Sir may benefit from an exceptional view overlooking the island. It is also the best way to access the portrait gallery, where a large part of Lord Mortimer's works are exhibited. And in the gallery, Sir will also find access to the garden. But Sir may be reassured the building is accessible on both sides, so that it surrounds the garden in question. So, Sir should not find cause to worry. No one has ever gotten lost.
Except for my mother.
Has Sir another question?
What's on the first floor?
The first floor is reserved for guests, sir. That is where Sir will find his private rooms. The main corridor leads around the building. 3 stairways will enable Sir to return to the ground floor. It is also from there that Sir will be able to reach the second floor.
Thank you very much.
Anything else, sir?
What is outside on the island exactly?
Lord Mortimer has made a point of keeping the main part of the island in its natural state, sir. For security reasons, only the wharves and the gardens are accessible to guests. If Sir would like to walk along the wharves, he has only to follow the pathway used upon his arrival. If he would like to walk in the interior gardens of the manor, I would advise Sir to pass through the portrait gallery. May I help Sir in any other way?
As I was unable to bring my personal effects with me, I was wondering if you could find me a few items.
Of course, sir. What would you require?
What's that book you're hiding in your jacket?
The Sorrows of Young Werther by Goethe, sir, and I am not hiding it.
Hand it to me, please.
It is damaged, sir. I would never dare lend sir a book in such a pitiful state, sir. I took it to restore. What can I do for you, sir? I am at your service day and night, sir.
As I was unable to bring my personal effects with me, I was wondering if you could find me a few items.
Of course, sir. What would you require?
What's that book you're hiding in your jacket?
The Sorrows of Young Werther by Goethe, sir, and I am not hiding it.
Hand it to me, please.
It is damaged, sir. I would never dare lend sir a book in such a pitiful state, sir. I took it to restore.
Indeed, this masterpiece must not become more damaged. Let me have it and I'll take care of it personally. I love antiquarian books.
It bothers me somewhat. It isn't sir's job to take care of it, really.
No, but I would love to. You'll be doing me a favor by letting me have it.
In that case, sir, I shall leave it in your care with pleasure. May I do anything else for sir?
Blind Oedipus. Blinded himself. What a tragic destiny. Fall of the Damned by Rubens. The man who cannot achieve the salvation of God the Father is offered to fall into the depths of the abyss.
Dear friends, I bid you welcome. I hope the night was not too short. Your Eminence, Duchess, Monsieur de Richet, allow me to introduce our new guests. They arrived during the night. Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs and close aide of Frederick William II, King of Prussia. Napoleon Bonaparte, Lieutenant of the French Revolutionary Army. And Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. Unfortunately, my friends, Lord Mortimer will not be joining us this morning, but he should be with us later. So, let us begin.
What is Mortimer playing at? He tells me to come urgently and he sends no one to meet me?
Thank you again for the wine, Your Eminence. It is served every day at the king's table.
I am delighted to hear it.
Volner and Piaggi seem to be getting along well.
My dear Johann, how are you?
Glad to make landfall at last. And yourself?
Very well.
And your husband?
He's poorly. The French Revolution gives him terrible headaches.
Oh, I understand. I shall feel better too, as soon as the situation is settled.
If by chance the French crisis is emulated in Berlin, there will always be a refuge for you in London, my dear.
Your offer does you honor, Emily. But London is much closer to Paris than Berlin. Beware. The French are capable of sailing up the Thames straight to the Houses of Parliament.
Oh, my friend, I am shaking in my clogs.
Is the wine to your liking?
Very much so, Sir Gregory. Such complexity. Typically French. A Sauterne, isn't it?
Absolutely.
If I'm not mistaken, this is not Lord Mortimer's favourite wine. It is yours.
In his absence, I have taken the liberty of making a slight deviation from the rule, but I count on your discretion.
Don't worry, I appreciate the same grape varieties as you. I remember the last time we tasted that nectar here at this table. The finest minds of the century were present.
And the last time we drank it, the orphanage in Bloomsbury was still in ruins.
Would you repeat that?
Oh, well, I put some small effort into the works. The orphanage reopened just before Christmas. The bedrooms, washrooms, and the classrooms had all been refurbished.
I don't know what to say. You have given the girls a wonderful Christmas gift. Thank you.
I made a promise. Now it is done.
It's the first time I've ever seen her so moved. Just mentioning that orphanage broke right through Emily's hard shell.
Oh? Is everything all right?
Yes, thank you. I had a moment of absence, but here I am again.
What do you think of Volner?
The Prussian king is his puppet.
I find it hard to believe the king of Prussia is so weak.
Be careful. Volner is as influential as he is dangerous.
You seem to know each other well.
We used to work together.
I see.
Of course. My friend.
Have you any information on this Napoleon?
Yes, I heard the news. What a story.
He's just a soldier, not even a high-ranking one at that. I'll bet he's just here for some minor business.
I wouldn't be so categorical. No one is ever invited here just by chance. You see.
Does not know of her, sir.
Monsieur de Richet? It would seem we have common interests. Could we speak in private, please? Lord Mortimer and the Golden Order, through your mother, have concluded a financial agreement.
Stay composed, Louis. I'm listening.
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother. You must know that I am deeply sorry about their disappearance, but I must validate the deal urgently if I want to be able to organize things properly.
I haven't seen Lord Mortimer yet. I'm afraid I'll be unable to answer your questions.
He assured me that you could replace your mother during her absence.
I appreciate his confidence, but still, this is a bit hasty. But please continue.
Of course, but I need to know if I can count you among my allies.
Well, of course.
And for that, I have a little question for you. The agreement stipulates an aid of 50,000 louis d'or for 200 cannon.
I don't know. Maybe you ought to speak to my mother.
Oh, what a pity. I was hoping you would be up to the challenge. Too bad. I have one last question I would like to pose to you. We don't know each other yet, you and I. And I need to make sure that we both share the same vision for the future of France. Given the hard times that have befallen our beautiful country, what do you think it would take to restore its luster?
Let the people make their own choices.
You are joking, I hope. The people are simply not capable of taking charge, don't you see? They are an uneducated mob who react on the spur of the moment, incapable of providing a coherent vision for the good of the country. I think there must be a misunderstanding.
What do you mean?
I cannot believe that Lord Mortimer advised me to speak to you. I must have misunderstood. Excuse me, please.
Bravo, Louis. total fiasco.
My friends, I would like to say a few words, please. I would like to thank Lord Mortimer, and you, Sir Holm, for bringing us all together here. Those of us for whom it is not the first time here, like me, are all trembling in sweet anticipation of the arrival of our host. For the rest, I would like to reassure you that Lord Mortimer always has a few surprising projects to propose. But I can assure you that each and every one of us has always benefited from them. The last time I came to this place, Lord Mortimer offered to help me in my electoral campaign for the presidency of the United States. And it is imminently clear that his support was an invaluable aid to us. We are here among like-minded people. So let us put aside the conflicts in which some of our nations find themselves at present. So I raise my glass in honor of you all, my new and old friends.
I trust you shall not be disappointed, Mr. Washington. Right, we shall meet again tomorrow. All the guests will be present, as well as Lord Mortimer, I hope. Until then, I trust you will find plenty to keep you amused.
Alright, let's recap. Before dinner, I was going to investigate my mother's message. I've got to find the place where all eyes size you up.
Well, Your Eminence, do you still have any room left?
Ah, my son, the sin of gluttony is the most difficult of all in my eyes. Nevertheless, what a charming moment we have had together. I'm delighted I was able to talk to Mr. von Wollner. We hadn't spoken to each other for an eternity.
Yes. I noticed that Your Eminence knew a fair number of people at the table.
The benefit of age, my son. This isn't my first invitation to Lord Mortimer's. You will see, it's the perfect place to make new friends. Indeed, I noticed that you and Mr. Bonaparte had already begun.
Ah, I adapt quickly to local customs. It's what I was taught.
And you are right to do so, my son. But tell me, have you had any news of your mother since your arrival?
Alas, still nothing, Your Eminence. But I still haven't been able to meet Lord Mortimer.
Do not worry. It is typical of him. What can I say? Lord Mortimer is a very busy man. I should think you are beginning to worry.
Well, I must admit, Your Eminence, indeed it does worry me.
I understand, Louis. But continue to have faith in Sarah. You'll see, I'm sure, that in a few days we'll all be laughing together.
That's all I hope for, Your Eminence. But while I have you with me, I have a question for you.
Well, go ahead, Louis. What can I do for you?
If I said to you, where all eyes size you up, would it mean anything to you?
I don't know if it's the place you're looking for, Louis, but it makes me think of the portrait gallery.
There's a gallery here? Can you tell me where to find it, please?
Of course. Just go through the door at the end. It will lead into the library. Continue all the way through, and you'll end up in the gallery. You'll see it, Louis. When you get there, you'll know.
Thank you very much, Your Eminence. On that last word, then, I shall leave you to fight your demons. See you later, Your Eminence.
See you later, my son.
Circe preparing wine. What better trap for Ulysses? The conversion of Ulysses by Gurs. Circe changing Ulysses' companions into swines. Circe turning Ulysses' companions back into humans. Ulysses and Circe at the table. If I were you, Ulysses, I wouldn't drink the wine. Romney painted Lady Hamilton as Circe. This painting has caused some debate. Who did Dosey paint? Alcina the fairy or Circe the magician? A swine and a salon. That's an odd choice of decor. Dining on ham. Well, that's very appetizing. The lock is surrounded by a triple circle.
All right. I've retrieved everything.
Circe. Amber crystals. Golden elixir. pages out of a pound.
Where all eyes size you up. Chances are, that's the room my mother spoke of. And she also spoke of a Medusa. Should I go and try to find the creature now? Allegory regarding the decoration of the rights of men. That's the least you could say. Liberty or Death by Regnault. Well, I'll take liberty, please. But I do understand his choice, even though it seems radical. Ah, painting by Ingres. Molière dining with Louis XIV. The king's posture is surprising. It's almost as if he's addressing someone in the assembly. Celia. That name means nothing to me. Christ Crucified by Velázquez. Look, someone's left a note there. Reserved for the Duke of Alcudia. Song of Roland. Ah, François Ier, Receiving the Holy Family, a painting by The Fall of Phaeton, another painting by Rubens. Poor Phaeton. The Company by Rembrandt. A meeting between Louis XIV and Philippe V. I wonder why Mortimer's particularly fond of this painting. The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. The last day before his crucifixion, Jesus announces that he will be betrayed by one of his disciples. A painting with no name. I've got to find out what Mother was trying to do with her. The Medusa. A hero armed with a sword? A hero with a lantern. And the last one holding a shield. I'll stake my life on it. All the statues form a single scene together. The poor devils are about to face the beast. Let's give them a helping hand. Devil's Thorn. I'll keep it. The Origin of Myths, a reinterpretation of legendary creatures. Just what I need. The text is in French on the left-hand page and in Latin on the right hand. Let's find the chapter on the Medusa. Hang on. This version is significantly different from the regular one. It recounts how men have always belittled women in society. Harpies, mermaids, the chimera, the hydra, the gorgons. Ah, the section on the Medusa. While some of the heroes divert attention from the gorgon, the hero with the sword brandishes his weapon at the Medusa.
For Pete's sake, Emily! You scared the pants off me. Don't ever do that again.
Well, keep your nose out of my business then.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop fooling around and tell me what you're doing here.
I've discovered a hidden message from my mother. She explains how to find the secret room. Something must have attracted her here, so I've come to check it out. And you? What brings you here?
My, you're curious.
Let me guess.
Go on then, impress me.
You're spying on Mortimer, right?
Everyone is spying on Mortimer.
Shall I take that for a yes?
Take it as you please, but I wouldn't be surprised if all the guests were around here somewhere searching the manor. Well, no matter. I'll tolerate your presence this one time. Now, since you're here, make yourself useful. Look around on your side. I'll do the same on mine. And if you find anything of interest, let me know.
Oh yeah, in your dreams. At your service, madam.
A golden fleece.
It's freezing. Hurry up.
Cold? You want a rug? It'll warm you up.
I wouldn't be caught dead in that horrible thing.
That's a pity. The gold color brings out your eyes.
And your flattery brings out your boorishness.
An unofficial gospel? You'd be more likely to find this kind of book at the Vatican.
Nothing special. The library at Buckingham has 3.
I bet you've read them cover to cover.
Naturally.
Really? I'm curious. Tell me, what part stood out the most to you?
The passage where Mary says to Joseph, "Hey, you, shut up."
In other words, you haven't even opened one. Hey, Mortimer's the author of this work. It talks about his passion for art. Guess what I found?
The Holy Grail.
Older than that.
A piece of Noah's Ark.
Not that old.
This could go on for hours. Just tell me.
Caesar's laurel wreath.
Stop! Don't put your grubby fat fingers on it.
Do you find my fingers fat?
At least put on some gloves.
Please note, my fingers are slim.
You were going to leave marks. My God, what an amateur.
Many a harpsichord players would love to have sexy fingers like mine.
Tell me where you took your infiltration classes so I can have your tutor executed.
Let's compare hands then. We'll soon see whose fingers are fattest.
No, I'm not going to compare hands with you. Let's just keep going.
Bad loser.
Oh, looks like a pamphlet on different political regimes, written by Mortimer himself.
You should see this sword, Emily. It's magnificent.
I'm busy. Describe it to me.
I think this is Excalibur, King Arthur's sword. I've always dreamt of drawing it from the stone.
How sweet you're still clinging to your boyhood dreams. When you finished playing, maybe you can help me search the place?
Amber.
Here's something interesting. A manor in Maine, hundreds of acres of land in Catalonia, properties in Shanghai. Incredible. Some of these deeds are over 600 years old, and all signed by the hand of Mortimer.
I wonder if that's what inspired my mother's attention.
How come all these documents have Mortimer's signature on them?
Do you think all these properties really belong to him?
Maybe Mortimer is immortal or capable of living for a very long time, like Methuselah.
A first smile. Careful. Keep that up and soon you'll end up laughing.
Carry on sprouting inanities like that, and indeed I might. These documents are intriguing, but do you really think that's what attracted your mother's attention here?
I don't know. She was obsessed with Mortimer, and I must confess, these property deeds are troubling.
If that's the case, why would she have left them?
Once again, I don't know. We'll have to ask her when we find her. And what's your take? Why keep such a collection hidden in a secret room? Any thoughts?
Mortimer has every reason in the world to conceal it, even if only to keep it from people like us.
Hey, Emily, we're not thieves. We're only looking. I wonder why my mother didn't make it clear what she was interested in here.
She didn't have time to write it down, or maybe she wasn't sure of what she was looking for.
Or she wanted to protect her discoveries. It's disturbing.
You'll just have to search the rest of the room. Maybe you'll find something. Carry on searching. What is that you found?
A cameo pendant. What's going on?
Nothing.
For crying out loud, Emily, you lunged for that jewel like your life depended on it. Tell me what this is about.
No. We just met, Louis. I like you, but I can't just suddenly open myself up like a book to you.
Listen, Emily. It seems pretty obvious to me that you haven't come here for the sole purpose of sampling Mortimer's cellar. Stop all the clever evasions and just trust me.
And why the hell should I place my trust in you, Louis?
Nothing. I have done absolutely nothing for you. No to this, no to that. You ask for proof of trust, but when you get it, you turn a deaf ear. You are defiant, evasive, and paranoid. Go question your own motives. I've done all I can.
All right, fine. There's no point getting on your high horse, you know. So I'm wary, I grant you that. I'll admit you are fairly reliable.
That's it? I was expecting more.
Well, I'm prepared to trust you when it comes to choosing a French cheese. But I've nothing to gain by confiding in you any further than that.
Nothing to gain? Damn it, Emily! I'm only trying to help you. Stop needing to gain something all the time.
Because you think I need help?
Just like everyone. You have your strengths and your weaknesses. And there's no use pretending otherwise.
Ha! And I bet you found out where I'm weak, haven't you?
You think your scathing wit protects you, but in fact, it makes you blind. No sooner have people introduced themselves than you already see them in a bad light. You play the part of a strong woman, and yes, you are a strong woman, of course. But what I see is a sensitive young lady who lacks self-confidence. Stop adopting a defensive posture, and you'll see just how quickly new doors will open.
There is some truth to what you say. I might have some weaknesses, but I don't need your help to overcome them. And I'm simply not contemplating collaborating with anyone at this time. Do you understand?
Yes, it's perfectly clear. You're already working with someone.
Ah, well spotted, Louis. I already have a work partner. I know my weaknesses. I don't doubt that your abilities will be of use to me. But I already have all that, thanks to my teammate.
Is there any chance you might tell me who he is?
No, I've already said too much. Consider yourself lucky I've even given you this much. It's extremely rare, believe me.
Come on, don't stop now that you've come this far. You know that eventually I'll end up making you talk.
Well, since no one can resist you, let's see if you can guess who my partner is.
You're a gambler. So, your partner is... It's as obvious as it is surprising. You're my mother's hard-hitting partner.
Oh, God, do you really believe the nonsense that comes out of your mouth?
Well, a second ago I did. A little.
Sorry, Louis. Your mother is not my partner.
Your sister. She's your partner. She's the one you're looking for.
Well, I am impressed. How the devil did you guess I had a sister? Virtually no one even knows. When it comes to getting results, you are very good, I grant you that. You deserve to know why the sight of the cameo pendant affected me so strongly. I thought it belonged to Emma, my twin sister.
Oh. Now I get why you said you had a memory for two.
Yes, you can't imagine to what extent, though. As children, everyone got us mixed up. So one day we decided to play along. Since then, we have become one and the same. We have officially erased the identity of my sister Emma. Emily Hillsborough. The woman with two faces.
Clever. But isn't it complicated? How do you make it work?
One of us has no existence in the outside world. We share everything. First for one, then for the other. We dress the same, wear the same makeup, we speak the same. We've learned to act as one. When we accept a mission, we both turn up. This time, though, she went ahead, and I was meant to wait for her on the mainland. She was meant to meet Sir Home and bring back the details so we could work out who would follow up.
And there was a problem?
She was supposed to return from Mortimer's 1 week ago. The boat turned up at Plymouth, but alas, no trace of my sister. Instead, a sailor passed me a message from home, notifying me of her sudden disappearance.
So, my mother and your sister go missing just a few days apart. That's strange. Maybe their disappearances are linked.
It's clearly a possibility, but up to now I haven't found a trace of either of them.
None of this is very reassuring.
By the way, Louis, now that you are in on the secret, you are obliged to keep it to yourself, or you will pay very dearly.
Don't worry. Your secret is safe with me.
It's time to leave.
So, what do you think of our first adventure?
I must admit it has been fun by your side.
Same here.
Oh, she's been drinking too much again.
Louis, I need to talk to you right now.
Good evening, Elizabeth. Actually, this is not a good time.
I'm begging you, please, don't leave me alone.
I'll be waiting for you in your room, but don't be late.
I was sure there was a certain je ne sais quoi between us.
Louis, we need to talk now. Otherwise it'll be too late.
Looks like Elizabeth really needs me, but if I start talking to her, for sure Emily won't wait for me. What should I do? Sorry, Emily, but I can't leave Elizabeth like this. All right, Elizabeth. How can I help?
Thank you. Come on, follow me.
Well, Elizabeth, what was so urgent? For God's sakes, what happened in here?
I really need to talk to you, Louis, right now.
Does Lord Mortimer know the mess you've made of your room?
Listen to me, damn it! My days are numbered.
All right. What have you got on your mind now?
You've got to listen to what I have to say while there's still time. You need to know the truth about your mother.
About my mother? What do you mean?
I saw her.
Saw who? You saw my mother? When?
Just last night. I went out to walk along the cliff top and I saw her in the distance. She tried to hide right away, but I'm sure it was her.
Are you saying you recognized my mother in the middle of the night while she was hiding?
Yes, Louis, I know it was her.
You just said she was far away, right? In the middle of the night. And the exterior of the island isn't exactly well lit.
Listen, I'm telling you, it was her.
Did you talk to each other?
No, she was far away. I didn't make any noise, and then she was gone.
Have you told anyone you've seen her? Sir Holm? Mortimer?
You don't understand. It's her. She's here.
Yes, I understand.
No, you're not listening. The moment I saw her, I was overcome by spasms. She's here. I'm telling you, it was her. Yes, I need something to calm me down.
I'll drink with you, but let's go easy on it, okay? I don't know where she gets her rot gut from, but frankly, it's disgusting.
You know, Louis, when I came here, it was in the hope of getting help. I've only just now realized that I've been drawn here into a trap.
Whoa. The alcohol's gone to my head.
Here, the condemned's last drink.
Elizabeth, alcohol never solves anything. I'm gonna stop now.
Listen up. You want to know what your mother was capable of, right? You want to know the reason why. Well, you're gonna have to follow me to the bottom of the abyss, Louis. Either drink or get out.
No, I won't drink.
All right, Louis, then get the hell out of here. You're incapable of opening your eyes, so be it. Get out!
Why the hell did I go with Elizabeth?
I could have spent the night with Emily, but no. I had to go play the night with a big heart. Oh, well, never mind. Tomorrow's another day.
Monsieur de Richet, I am arresting you for the murder of Elizabeth Adams.
What the hell's going on?
You are in deep trouble, my young friend.
How many times must I tell you? You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible.
Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet. Monsieur de Richet, I am arresting you for the murder of Elizabeth Adams.
At last we meet, Monsieur de Richet. Do you mind if I call you Louis?
Please do.
Thank you. I wish to apologize wholeheartedly, Louis. I made you cross the seas, and I wasn't even here to welcome you. When I asked you to join us here, it was, of course, in the hope that you would help us find your mother. But an act of horrific violence occurred during the night, and I do not know if this is linked to the disappearance of Sarah.
If there's a possible link to my mother, I hope you'll let me know.
In the early hours of the morning, Elizabeth Adams was found dead in her room, savagely mutilated with a knife. I'll get straight to the point, Louis. According to the initial elements at my disposal, you were the last person to see her alive.
Yes, last night we, Do you suspect me?
I want you to tell me everything that happened last night and leave nothing out. Tell me, how did the evening begin?
Duchess Hillsborough and I were returning to our rooms when Elizabeth came up to us. She was in a state of panic and insisted that she needed to speak to me. She said she feared for her life. I took my leave of the Duchess and followed Elizabeth to her room.
Continue.
She insisted we have a drink, without which she refused to confide anything.
What exactly did she want to speak about?
About my mother. She had just found out that I was Sarah de Richet's son. Elizabeth wanted to tell me about the horrors my mother apparently inflicted on her.
Finding out that your own parents had always lied to you. Well, that must not have been an easy thing to hear. But do go on.
I refused to go on drinking with her. She already seemed drunk and her conversation became confused. So, then she ordered me to get out. If only I'd stayed.
Don't blame yourself, Louis. How could you have known? But thank you for this new information.
Louis, I shan't hide the fact that this tragedy puts me in a very delicate situation. I cannot risk upsetting the smooth operation of our next conference. But the case cannot remain unaddressed. I must reassure my guests, and justice will be done. And for that to happen, I must ask for your help.
Why is that?
You met Elizabeth. You spoke together, I believe. She trusted you. Listen, Louis. Find out who could have committed this murder. I refuse to believe that one of my guests is the murderer. I want to know who is responsible for this. And I trust you. You have my backing. You must stop at nothing. Can I count on you?
Of course. How would you like me to proceed?
Maybe you could start by going to the scene of the crime. Elizabeth was attacked in her room.
Can you tell me anything else about what happened?
Now, Louis, I wouldn't want to influence you. Get over there and form your own opinion.
Can you tell me anything else about what happened?
Now, Louis, I wouldn't want to influence you. Get over there and form your own opinion.
Do you have any suspects in mind, my lord?
I spent most of the night talking with Sir Gregory and His Eminence Piaggi, so I think you can remove them from the list of suspects. Monsieur Bonaparte and President Washington left the party after midnight, I believe. They were tired and went up to bed.
Right. I'll get over there immediately.
Thank you, Louis. Now, once you've finished, come back and let me know your findings. I'll be waiting. And Louis, you've got permission to search through the guests' rooms. They've all been notified and they agree.
The nightmare painted by Fuseli in 1781. Your Eminence, I imagine that you've heard the news about Miss Adams.
What a tragedy, my son. How could such a thing have happened?
That's exactly what I'm trying to find out. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary last night?
I saw the young French soldier, Bonaparte, I believe, hanging around near Miss Adams' room. But I would not want to get an innocent man into trouble, Louis. It's probably nothing.
Not to worry, Your Eminence. If he is innocent, then he has nothing to fear. Do you know why Monsieur Bonaparte was hanging around her room like that?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that the dashing young soldier had become infatuated with a fragile young woman who looked a bit lost. But I don't think he got a very warm welcome.
Bonaparte and Adams? But they didn't even know each other, did they?
I couldn't say, Louis. But if I were you, my son, I would talk to Monsieur Peru. You remember how violently he set upon Miss Adams.
Oh, don't worry. He's on the list of suspects.
Which four-letter word could open this?
Monsieur Jacques Perru.
What do you want from me, de Richet?
Greetings. It's fallen to me
Cut
that...
the crap! Get to the point. We both know why you're here.
And have you got anything to tell me?
What does it matter? It's too late anyway. Do what you have to do and get out.
It's never too late, sir. If you have something to say, now is the time.
You don't understand. Everything's already written. It's over.
Why is he behaving like the perfect culprit? What is it that's already written? I'm not sure I follow you.
No, you don't.
A pattern with 4 circles. Dear Monsieur Perru, I'm writing to thank you for the fun. I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later. The Massacre of the Innocents, but by Van Harlem. I think that Mortimer likes to play mind games with his guests.
Nice decor for a revolutionary tribunal judge's room.
The Massacre of the Innocents by Rubens. A bit gloomy. Guess my room is not that bad. Records of the police. Notes intended for the police lieutenant of Paris. It's a list of people under surveillance in Paris. And there's some well-known names on it.
This is valuable information. This shouldn't be lying around.
Dear friend, please come and join us. We must meet about the ongoing.
Great. Honey.
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. I'd like to talk about the letter you're writing. What woman is it addressed to?
Who says it's a woman? I'm not saying any more. There's no point you insisting. All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. Let's get right to it. Are you Elizabeth Adams' murderer?
That is for you to prove, if I'm not mistaken, boy. You weren't expecting me to do all the legwork for you, were you? Lazy man.
Goodbye, sir. We shall meet again.
Probably.
Tending children at the orphanage in Harlem. I find it a little hard to understand this painting choice. King George III in coronation robes. Nice touch for the room of an English duchess.
Dear E.
The Lady's Waldegrave by Reynolds, painted upon the request of the Waldegrave family, in an effort to find them a husband. Displayed like meat. It's disgusting. A letter from William Pitt the Younger, addressed to Emily. He's the present Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Emily has indeed some powerful backers. Queen Charlotte. All the royal family of England. 2 coils circle the lock.
Dear Gregory, thank you for the information. I've managed...
All right. I've retrieved everything. A letter from William Pitt the Elder, addressed to Emily. He was the English Prime Minister. This letter dates from 15 years ago now. A devil's thorn, to be used to uncover the best disguised traits. William Pitt, the Elder, Earl of Chatham. Emily worked with his son.
What can I do for you, Louis?
I've come to see you about last night's tragedy. Did you hear anything about what happened to Elizabeth?
Yes, we all did. Rumors spread quickly, you know. How awful. I didn't know her well, but I hope at least the poor thing didn't suffer too much.
Death came quickly. You can be assured of that.
If such a senseless act can happen here, then none of us is truly safe anywhere. Lord Mortimer must be mortified that one of his guests could have committed such an act, don't you think?
He is indeed very upset about it. It's only natural after such a violent murder.
Violent? What do you mean?
Elizabeth was stabbed 9 times.
Oh my God, Louis. How awful. The murderer must have had a serious grudge against her to set upon her like that. It must have been a crime of passion. Do you know what happened exactly?
In fact, Lord Mortimer has asked me to look into this case, Emily.
Really? Are you Lord Mortimer's snoop now?
I'm doing it for Elizabeth, not to please Mortimer.
Good for you. Quite right, too. Have you found out anything?
I'm now interviewing all the guests to establish the alibis for each person. Just so that I can cross you off the list of suspects, can you tell me what you were doing on the night of the murder?
Am I given to understand that I'm on the list of suspects?
Don't take it the wrong way, but I must consider every possibility.
Well, if you absolutely wanted to be sure of my activities that evening, you only had to join me, you know.
I know, Emily. Especially since I couldn't prevent the murder, even though I spent part of the evening with Elizabeth.
You're sure it's not too hard to bear for you?
The fact is, I don't have a choice. But I will find the murderer. I owe Elizabeth that, at least. Did you and Elizabeth get to know each other?
I must admit, Louis, I didn't take much interest in her. I feel a bit guilty about it, but I never actually spoke to her. She seemed burdened by her problems, and as she wasn't invited to the conference, I didn't really seek her out.
I hear you were in discussions with the Holy See.
Oh, either His Eminence can't keep his tongue from wagging, or you've been poking your nose where you shouldn't, sir.
Even so, Emily, you're raising a royalist army. That's no small matter.
And you are straying from the subject. Is there anything else you wanted to ask me?
I won't keep you, Emily. Thank you for answering my questions.
See you, Louis. Dear E.
Grammar of Port-Royal. Ah, the artistry of the French language in all its splendor. Whoever masters French commands the world. At least une partie of it. Duke Manuel Godoy.
Map of Vermont.
Honey, I couldn't have hoped for better.
Portrait of George Washington.
Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost. It looks like a note between Emily and Washington about trade deals.
My dear George,
greetings, Louis.
Mr. President, you can guess why I'm here.
Of course.
Lord Mortimer has sent me to ask you a few questions about last night.
It's... How am I going to tell Elizabeth's father that she's dead?
I know, Mr. President. I shall endeavor to find out the truth about this tragedy. I must ask you to help me, though. Please.
Find the degenerate pig who did this, Louis.
Are you all right, Mr. President? Are you feeling all right?
Oh, don't worry. It's this rotten toothache. What do you expect? I'm no spring chicken now.
Tell me, Mr. President, had you spoken to Elizabeth since your arrival? You know her father. You thought she was dead.
No, I didn't. And I believe I'll be taking my remorse with me to my grave. I wanted to, but I didn't know where to begin.
You can't blame yourself. You couldn't have known that her days were numbered. Do you know if she had any enemies, Mr. President?
Not that I know of. I heard about her altercation with Mr. Perry, but that case was closed, if I'm not mistaken. But if in doubt, I wouldn't leave any door unopened, and I'd go and question your fellow countrymen.
Don't worry, countryman or not, I'm not letting anybody slip through the cracks. Do you know why she came to the island?
To get help, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right?
Indeed. Sir Gregory suggested to her father that he introduce her to Lord Mortimer to see if he could help her.
Yes, Lord Mortimer has a talent for healing, apparently. I'm not surprised Sir Gregory advised her to come.
Agreed. I shan't keep you any longer, Mr. President.
Feel free, Louis. If there's anything I can do, just ask.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Good day, Monsieur de Richet.
Mr. Volner, are you looking for anything in particular? Next to Elizabeth's room?
No, nothing special.
I'd have thought this is not really the shortest way to get to your suite.
Yes, I wasn't really looking where I was going. I shall leave you now, sir. I will return to my room.
A chest with a half-circle pattern. An untutored hand copied these notes. Looks like a healing method. Well, that's a pity. The writing is barely legible. There are numerous marks on the body. She must have fought like a lion. It couldn't have happened without a lot of noise. There are also a number of old scars. People who scar themselves in this way generally do so to relieve some kind of psychological suffering. By trying to master the pain, they establish their self-control. Symbol of the Masons? What's that doing here? Ancient Greek. Let's see what it means. These are sacred chants intended to protect their bearer. But from whom? Or from what? I see no sign of bruising on the skull. The only clue is a scar from a previous craniectomy. Poor Elizabeth, she must have been very young when she went through all that. That's torture. She also has old scars around the neck. Maybe mutilations. She bled from the nose. There are signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising. There are signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising. There are signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising. What a strange smell. Blood, but no trace of blows on the legs. More tattoos, similar to those on the rest of her body. direction of the blood streaks caused by the wounds to the thorax show that she was standing when she lost blood. This proves that she was standing when she was assassinated, possibly held by someone or something. I count no fewer than 9 wounds on the thorax, with a lot of blood. On first sight, I'd say that's what caused her death. Some of these tattoos are veritable works of... What's that? The skin between her breasts is different. Bloody hell! This tattoo was drawn on a page of leather and stitched onto her skin. Probably during childhood. The scars are anything to go by. It's the same kind of tattoo as on the rest of her body. No wounds, but blood on the right hand. Nothing on the left except that tattooed symbol. No marks or bruising around the wrists. It doesn't look like she was tied up or held by force. The blade is short and thin, well sharpened, apparently. It's covered in blood. Still fresh. The lower part of the handle is unsullied by blood. The murderer gripped the weapon so tight that there's no blood where he held it. The handprint indicates a small and slender hand. The handprint on the handle is really small. I can't imagine a man with a hand that size. It must be from a woman's hand. Blood spatter indicates that the murderer must have held Elizabeth upright during the attack. Even if Elizabeth wasn't very big, I doubt she wouldn't have put up a struggle. It takes tremendous strength to overpower someone like that. Clock stopped at 3:54. If it was smashed during the murder, then I've just established the time of the crime. A pentagram? What the hell's been going on here? Many esoteric rituals are based on this shape. Could Elizabeth have been sacrificed during an occult ritual? Vials of laudanum. The label shows that this laudanum comes straight from America. I wonder if Washington's involved. Piece of fabric, high quality at that. I'd say it's silk. Going by the texture and the gray hue, it must come from a dress, that kind that women of quality wear. August 24th. 30 November, 1790. June 11th. 1791. A notebook written in Elizabeth's handwriting. It is written in a mix of several languages. Not too easy to work out. Huh. The talisman that I gave back to Elizabeth. I can't exactly say it brought her good luck. My dear Elizabeth,
Has Sir finished with this room?
I know enough now. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Sir may return whenever need be. I shall guard the door. Has Sir finished with this
Do you know
room?
who could have made such a mess of this room?
Miss Adams, sir. We were given orders to leave the room as it was, so as not to rush her.
Did she have a fight with someone to get the room into this state?
Not that I know of, sir. Miss Adams would sometimes throw a tantrum, during which she would destroy anything that came to hand. Lord Mortimer told us not to enter the room.
Thanks for that information.
You are welcome, sir. Has Sir finished with this room?
I know enough now. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Sir may return whenever need be. I shall guard the door.
The Sorrows of Young Werther. There's a handwritten text signed by von Werner on this first page. Dear Elizabeth, I know that this book is but a small token compared to the delightful moments you gave me, but I hope that this will nonetheless keep the memory alive. Your ever-obedient servant. So, Werner had a relationship with Elizabeth. But that's hardly surprising given his fondness for the occult. The signs of obscurantism. The alchemist is a young man. A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
What can I do for you, de Richet?
Monsieur, Lord Mortimer has appointed me to investigate the tragedy that befell us last night.
Oh, yes. It's horrible. Yes. How can I help, monsieur?
Excuse me for asking, but did you know Miss Adams?
Oh, she... not really, to tell the truth. No.
I found the Werther dedication, signed by your hand, monsieur. Would you like to change your version now?
Be careful, de Richet. Don't push your luck. My relationship with Miss Adams was pure, and has nothing to do with you. Well, continue playing the detective as you see fit. But if I find the bastard who did that to Elizabeth, I will...
Yes!
I would have preferred a simple response, but I see I have my answer now. I get the impression that your romance was over. Am I right?
So? What does it matter to you? I would never have attacked her, if that's what you're insinuating.
Who put an end to the relationship? You or her?
It was her. It was her. But what does that matter? We both agreed.
Where were you last night?
In my room. I read a few ancient manuscripts before going to bed. But I didn't stay up long. I was tired.
Thank you kindly. We finished. I'll have a look around and then take my leave.
Do whatever you have to do.
The alchemist is an old man.
Golden elixir.
Monsieur Johann van Vulner. A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. Goodbye, sir. We shall meet again.
Probably.
I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
Will you remind me of the facts we already know about?
Elizabeth Adams was killed last night, but Piaggi was with Holm and I until late at night. As for Bonaparte and Washington, they left us after midnight, both tired.
I believe I've identified the murderer.
Really, Louis? All right then. Please think carefully before you give me your answer. This is a very, very serious accusation.
From what I've found out, I believe that my mother is the culprit. Even though I find it hard to accept.
Sarah? But why her?
The print left on the knife near the body was left by a slender hand, without a doubt the hand of a woman.
And there aren't many female guests. I see. Anything else, Louis?
I think that there is more than enough evidence here.
Indeed, it's very worrying. Everything seems to indicate that your mother is responsible for Elizabeth's murder. Given the distinguished guests and the political issues involved at the conference, I trust you'll leave me to conclude the case in my own way.
Now that we've examined the question from all sides, maybe you could explain to me why you asked me here, my lord.
Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
She seems to be making every effort to steer clear of your guests.
What do you mean?
For the past few weeks, my mother's been playing cat and mouse, if you will. I don't know why, but it wouldn't surprise me to learn that she's trying to avoid someone. The question is, who?
And in your opinion, would she be the cat or the mouse?
Knowing my mother, she would be the cat.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the cannon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far. Yet he told me that you had spoken and that you hadn't been able to reach an understanding.
That's putting it mildly. Monsieur Bonaparte is one of those guys who only understands people who think like he does.
Ah, I see what you mean. He is indeed rather inflexible when it comes to certain subjects. But I am still of the opinion that you can manage to get along.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me. Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
If only my mother had trusted me, but she remained very mysterious. I'd have been delighted to answer your question.
Is this usual for her?
As head of the Order, secrets are her bread and butter, as you can imagine. That said, it's the first time she hasn't let me in on the reason for her trip. And it intrigues me, to tell you the truth.
Well, I am sure that Sarah will explain everything once she reappears. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Maybe she found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
You seem to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon as we had a little free time, we liked to share points of view about practically any subject. We would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon to the Treaty of Jassy, or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
Ah, yes. His famous cotton gin. It was supposed to revolutionize cotton production in the United States.
It will revolutionize the world, Louis. The potential of this invention is much greater. Tomorrow, all industries will be switching to simple but large-scale production. Of that, I'm sure.
I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades. It was her favorite subject.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Mother lulled my childhood with tales of the Crusades. How Richard the Lionheart and Philip Augustus had to battle it out to achieve their ends. And how Guy de Lusignan, having broken his word, launched the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Oh, I see Sarah's lessons have inspired new enthusiasts. Good on you, because not everyone can claim they know as much at your age. Your mother is a very well-read woman. You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation. Until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
One last thing, although I don't know if there is a connection.
I'm listening.
A gate was forced the other night near the wharf. Nothing serious, just a few small things damaged.
Sorry, my lord, but I was searching for leads to my mother. I thought I was hot on her trail and didn't take any precautions.
Well, you could have reported it to a servant. But never mind. I shall put it down to your ardor and anxiety. However, please try to respect my estate in future.
I certainly will. Please accept my sincerest apologies.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you.
The room is just opposite Mortimer's study. There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Dante's Paradise.
Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our earths. St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior. A fierce opponent of the first Christians, St. Paul is suddenly struck by the call of Jesus Christ and converts. It's the best-known conversion in Christian history, which teaches us that even enemies of Christ can be saved, and even become his greatest apostles after finding faith. From what I can recall, the account of his conversion could be found in the epistles to the Galatians, the Philippians, the Corinthians, and the Acts of the Apostles. The door appears to be locked on the other side. I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like a key falling to the floor. So much for discretion. It's open. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. No, what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe? Chest with the occult symbol representing air. The New Testament. I guess I'll just come back later. I guess I'll just come back later. St. John is known as the youngest of Christ's apostles. Well, we often give credit to St. John for having written about the apocalypse in the last book of the Bible. Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. Looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. I don't know, what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe?
Dante's Paradise.
Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays. What is this disc? There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Oh, wait. A note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here. What does it say? Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative. Awaiting your reply, hidden behind the youngest apostle. What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that? Now, therefore, there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law with one another. Why do ye not rather suffer injustice? Why do ye not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded? Ah, look, here's a message. It is of paramount importance that no one finds it. Watch out for the Prussian. He's on the trail. Let's meet up. I'll leave it to you to organize the rendezvous. Not today. I'm unable to do it. In the meantime, I'll follow the first group to Mark, who will reveal the answer to them. But that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. Here's a message. There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's see tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul. And he became very hungry, and would have eaten, but while they were made ready, he fell into a trance. Hey, there's a note here. A message from Mother in reply to E. We must leave urgently, but first I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare. Watch out for Volner. He figured out I was avoiding him. Allay suspicion. See you tomorrow evening. Stand ready. For now, let's cease all communication until we meet. Take care of yourself. I suppose this must be the last message. What happened afterward? If it's what I suspect, I fear the worst. What did Mother mean by, I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare? I must go beyond the nightmare. What does she mean by that? Clearly, she must be trying to do something useful, but what? The nightmare. Does that remind me of anything? It probably has to do with an object or something. Granting that this is the case, where might it be found? Yes! It's the painting that was behind Mortimer's study.
Well, let's see if Mortimer has anything to hide behind his painting. Mortimer's getting his guests together. I ought to join them so I don't look suspicious. It's time I went back and joined everyone in the small salon.